What is up, guys? In this video I'm going to be explaining how to use a switch statement in JavaScript, and let's get started immediately by going to the index, because here I need to explain that we are going to have a header and a button inside the body, and the header is going to have an ID of header text and the button is going to have an onClick method that says do something. You don't have to copy this, but it's just good so you know what I'm referring to when I start working on the JavaScript. But let's move on to the JavaScript file, and we're going to create a function. It's going to be called do something, just like in the HTML. So each time we click on that button, we will trigger this function, of course. And the first thing we want to do is create a variable called option. And that is going to equal a prompt, which is going to ask us to enter a caller name. Then under that, we're going to go ahead and create another variable, which is going to be called text. And that's going to be initialized with an empty string. Then down below, we can get started with the switch statement itself. So let's go ahead and type in switch. And inside here, we need to provide an option or a text, a number, or whatever, some variable that changes over time so that we can use it as something to compare to. So we're just going to insert our option, and this is just going to be a string that the user inserts. So depending on what this option is, we're going to have a few options. So let's create a block, and the first case we want to create is what if the user inserts the text red. In the case that they insert this text over here, we want to set the text up here to you chose red and put an exclamation mark. And then we also have to insert the break statement to make sure that we break out of this switch, because otherwise it's going to search for all of the cases, such as if we were to create another one as case blue. If we don't include this break, it will continue to search through all of them, which could also be a waste of memory when you are looking for something in a switch statement. Otherwise, it also might find another option that fits this description, and you will have two answers instead of just one. So the break just prevents us from doing some unnecessary searching inside all of the cases. But let's continue. And in case the user inserts the text of blue, we're just going to set the text to you chose blue with an exclamation mark. And of course, we need to specify a break. Now let's create another case. And this time I'm going to write something a bit different. It's going to be case something green. And then let's go right below it and type in case green. So you might be asking, why did I create these two and not insert anything inside the first one? If you write them right next to each other, just like this, you can also write maybe, for example, a list of fruits or whatever, something that's of the same category. If you write it just like this next to each other, and of course you can put as many of these as you want. But the reason we do this is because if we now write either something green or green, it's going to trigger the same block of code down here. So we can just type in text will be equal to you chose green, regardless of whether we type something green or green. It will use both of these cases to trigger this. And then we can go ahead and type in break one more time. And the final thing you need to know about the switch statement is that we also need a method to fall back on. In case the text we enter does not match any of this, we want to have a default statement to execute. So to do that, all we have to do is go ahead and type in default, and here you just write the default code you want to be executed in case nothing matches the option that we've inserted. So we can just type in text, and that's going to equal unknown caller, and we should provide a break for this as well. And you can provide as many cases as you want, and the final thing we're going to do is call our document get element by ID, and inside here I need to insert the header text, which is the ID of my header. And we're going to call inner HTML, and we're going to set the value inside here to the text. So as you can see, when we click on this button now, it is going to trigger a prompt, which will ask us to put or to insert some inputs. And that is going to set the text of this variable, which will later be set to the header up here. So now I'm just going to go ahead and click on save. And now when I click on the button, you'll notice that there will be a prompt, and we're just going to go ahead and type in green, and it's going to say you chose green. Now if we click on the button and don't type in anything, it's going to say unknown caller. If you go ahead and type something random, it's still going to say unknown caller. But look, now if we go ahead and type in something green, for example, it's still going to say you chose green, because this case has the same code down here. And Yeah, that's essentially how you can create a switch statement, and you can use this for numbers. You can check whether the age is enough, or you can check whether the string corresponds to a certain ID. It can save you some time. So it's good to know how to use this switch statement because it will become useful someday in the near future. But with that being said, of course, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below and I'll do my best to look at them. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video.